73% of Americans are saving less for emergencies this year. Could you cover a $1,000 surprise bill without a credit card? The average U.S. worker brings home about $5,000 a month. But according to Bankrate's 2025 data, over half have less than $1,000 cash on hand. This isn't just a statistic. It's a tightrope millions of us walk every day. But there is a path off of it. Here's the 90-day blueprint the top 5% use, with every number sourced from today's economy to get you from financial stress to financial strength. Helpful first. Find out where your money really goes. We're calling this the financial autopsy. It sounds intense, but it's the most critical first step to taking back control. The reality is that for most people, income isn't the primary problem. It's the gap between what you earn and what you keep. According to a 2025 report from Bankrate, over 50% of Americans cannot cover a $1,000 emergency expense with their savings. Now, pair that with data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics from late 2024, which shows the average full-time worker earns about $5,050 a month. You can see the disconnect immediately. An entire month's work might not even leave enough of a cushion to fix a transmission or cover an urgent medical bill. This is the critical cash button gap that leaves families vulnerable, and it's our first target. So, why does this gap exist? According to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, in 2024, the average American only saves 4.52% of their income. For that person earning $5,050 a month, that's just $228 in savings. That amount barely makes a dent. It won't build a safety net, it won't fund your goals, and it certainly won't get you ahead. The good news is that this baseline is not your destiny. By implementing a simple system of tracking, you can find the leaks in your budget and immediately boost this percentage. It's about making your money accountable to your future, not just letting it disappear into the past. Here is your first action step, and it is non-negotiable. Track every single dollar you spend for the next 30 days. You don't need a fancy app. A simple notebook or a spreadsheet will do. Every coffee, every subscription, every grocery bill. Write it down. The goal isn't to judge yourself. It's to gather data. Once you have that 30-day snapshot, your next goal is to build an emergency fund equal to 1 full month of your expenses. For most people, a baseline target of $5,000 is a powerful and achievable first step. This isn't wealth yet. This is security. This is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Let's see how Jessica, an administrative assistant in New York, went from near zero savings to building a real cash buffer. Jessica is 29 and lives in New York City, earning $5,100 a month, which is right around the median for her job according to the BLS. Her expenses are high. $3,800 for rent, $700 on food, $350 for transport and utilities, and another $250 on miscellaneous costs. She also helps support her single parent, leaving almost nothing left over. Her problem became a crisis when she had an unexpected car repair. With no cash buffer, she was forced to put it on a high-interest credit card, digging the hole deeper. This was her turning point. For the next 30 days, she tracked everything. She identified small leaks, unused subscriptions, daily lunches out. That added up. Her first goal was clear: a $5,000 emergency fund. She started by setting up an automatic $200 per month deposit into a high-yield savings account. 7 months later, she had a $1,400 cushion. It wasn't $5,000 yet, but for the first time, she could handle a small emergency without reaching for a credit card. She had built a wall between her life and financial chaos. Now that you know where your money is going, it's time for step 2. Stop the leaks and tackle your debt predators. If an emergency fund is your shield, high-interest debt is the enemy actively trying to break it down. It's an invisible force that works against you 24/7. Bankrate's 2025 data revealed a shocking statistic. 33% of U.S. adults, 1 in 3, had more credit card debt than they had in savings. This shows just how quickly the spiral can begin. It's a race you can't win if your debt is growing faster than your savings. This isn't a moral failure. It's a math problem, and we are going to solve the math. Can good savings beat credit card interest? Let's look at the numbers and settle this right now. As of December 2025, according to Bankrate and Fortune, a top high-yield savings account, like one from Peak Bank, might offer you a 4.20% annual percentage yield, or APY. That's fantastic for savings. However, the average credit card interest rate is often over 20%, with many hitting 23% APR or higher. This is the brutal power of compound interest. When it's working for you at 4.20%, your money grows steadily. When it's working against you at 23%, your debt explodes. Trying to save your way out of high-interest debt is like trying to bail water out of a sinking ship with a teaspoon while a fire hose is blasting water back in. It's a losing battle. You must turn off the fire hose first. Your action step for this phase is to go on the offensive. First, automate all your minimum payments. This is non-negotiable to avoid late fees and protect your credit score. Second, choose your payoff strategy. There's the avalanche method, where you focus all extra payments on the debt with the highest interest rate first, which saves you the most money. Or there's the snowball method, where you pay off the smallest balance first for a quick psychological win. Both work. Just pick one and commit. Finally, investigate consolidating your debt. If you have good credit, a personal loan with a much lower interest rate can be a game changer, turning that 23% fire hose into a manageable garden hose. This is exactly what Marcus did. Marcus is a 35-year-old retail manager in Dallas. He earns $5,200 a month, but his obligations are heavy. He pays $1,800 in rent, $900 in child support, has a $450 car payment, and spends around $1,150 on food and other necessities. He also helps his elderly mother with her bills. He was trapped by $7,000 in credit card debt at a crippling 23% APR. The interest alone was costing him over $130 every month before he even touched the principal. His savings couldn't possibly keep up, so he took action. He automated his minimums, then used the avalanche method, throwing every extra dollar at that 23% card. His breakthrough came when he was approved for a personal loan at 4.20% and used it to pay off the entire credit card balance. The result was staggering. He immediately reduced his interest payments by $270 a month. That money was now his to keep. Instead of taking years to pay it off while battling interest, he is now on track to be completely credit card debt-free in just 8 months. Third, make your money multiply. Set up your wealth engine. Once you've built your emergency cushion and tamed your high-interest debt, It's time to make your money work for you. This is the shift from defense to offense. Savings accounts are for stability, but they will never build significant wealth because their returns are designed to barely keep up with inflation. To truly grow your money, you have to invest it. A great starting point for many is a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. According to NerdWallet's 2025 analysis, the S&P 500 has delivered a historical annualized return of around 10% over the long term. Compare that 10% to the 4.20% in a savings account. It's the difference between a brisk walk and a bullet train. Quick visual. Let's say you invest just $100 a month. If you put that in a savings account at 4%, after 30 years, you'd have about $69,000. Not bad. But if you invested that same $100 a month and it grew at that historical average of 10%, after 30 years, you would have over $226,000. That's the math working in your favor. The U.S. system provides powerful tools to do this, primarily through tax-advantaged retirement accounts. For 2024, the IRS set the contribution limits at $23,000 for a 401k and $7,000 for an IRA. If your employer offers a 401k match, that is the single best return on investment you will ever get. It is literally free money. Maxing that out should be a top priority. Your action step is to automate your wealth engine. This overcomes fear, procrastination, and the temptation to time the market. First, set up automatic contributions from your paycheck into your 401k or IRA. Even if you start with just $50 a month, start. Second, select a simple, low-cost investment like an S&P 500 or total stock market index fund. You don't need to be an expert stock picker. Third, understand the basics of pre-tax accounts, like a traditional 401k or IRA, which lower your taxable income today, versus after-tax accounts, like a Roth IRA, where you contribute money that's already been taxed, but it grows and can be withdrawn tax-free in retirement. The key is to start now. Have you started investing yet? Type yes, no, or soon in the chat. Let's see where everyone is at on their journey. It's a question many people, like Ashley, struggle with. Ashley is a 32-year-old nurse in Chicago, earning $5,500 a month. Her budget is tight, with $1,600 in rent and a $450 student loan payment. She wants to start investing for a down payment on a home, but she's stuck in analysis paralysis and frankly doesn't trust the stock market. She's afraid of losing her hard-earned money. Her solution was to conquer her fear with automation. She set up an automatic transfer of $850 a month, splitting it between her high-yield savings account for her short-term home goal and a Roth IRA for long-term growth. To keep it simple, she chose a default Vanguard S&P 500 index fund. The automation removed the emotion and decision-making. The outcome? In just 12 months, she accumulated $10,200 in her investment and savings accounts. More importantly, her confidence soared. She was no longer afraid of the market. She was using it as a tool. Finally, the fourth step: survive and thrive under real-life pressure. Don't let obligations pull you back. Personal finance doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in the real world, with family, cultural pressures, and unexpected responsibilities. This is especially true for younger generations and parents. A 2025 NerdWallet study found that about a quarter of Gen Z and millennials are borrowing money just to pay for essentials. And according to Bankrate, a staggering 65% of parents are spending over 30% of their income on housing alone. These aren't excuses. They are the real-world constants we have to build our financial systems around. This is a delicate balance. Family support and community are cornerstones of a good life, but your financial stability is what allows you to provide that support long-term. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you constantly raid your emergency fund or go into debt to help others, you eventually lose the ability to help anyone, including yourself. Let's imagine two paths. The first path is the giver who goes broke. They say yes to every request, drain their savings, and end up in a precarious position themselves, unable to help when the next crisis hits. The second path is the saver who sets limits. They plan for their generosity, communicate their boundaries clearly, and build a strong financial base. They may not be able to say yes to everything, but they are able to provide consistent, sustainable support without jeopardizing their own future. So, your final action step is to build a system for your generosity. Instead of treating family support as a chaotic, unpredictable expense, turn it into a planned part of your budget. Create a separate family support fund. This can be a dedicated sub-account within your high-yield savings. You automatically transfer a set amount into it each month, an amount you can afford without derailing your own emergency fund and investment goals. This is not a blank check. It's a planned, budgeted line item. It allows you to say, I can help, and here is how much I have set aside this month, instead of a guilty no or a reckless yes. This is the reality Carlos lives every day. Carlos is a 27-year-old warehouse worker in Houston, earning $4,200 a month. Every month, he sends money home to his parents. His budget is already tight, with $400 officially going to his parents, on top of his own rent, car, and living expenses. His problem was that unexpected family medical bills would pop up, forcing him to dig into his own meager savings and risk going into debt. His solution was to implement the system. He opened a separate sub-account and set up an automatic transfer. He then had an honest conversation with his family, explaining his new boundaries and how this system would allow him to provide more reliable support. The outcome was transformative. He's now able to provide $250 a month in planned support. And when there's an emergency, that's the fund he draws from. It protects his own savings, and he is now making slow but steady progress toward his own $2,500 emergency fund. He found a way to be both a good son and a smart saver. So let's bring it all together. Over these 4 steps, we've laid out a blueprint to take control of your financial life. The numbers don't lie. Over 50% of Americans can't handle a $1,000 emergency. But by simply tracking your spending and saving with intention, you can break that cycle. We saw how conquering high-interest debt and automating your investments creates unstoppable compounding momentum over time, turning the math in your favor. And finally, we acknowledged that real life is messy, but building systems like a dedicated family fund allows you to preserve your financial gains even when faced with real-life pressures. Here are your first steps. Your immediate action is to spend the next 7 days tracking every dollar. Don't wait for the first of the month. Start now with a notebook or a spreadsheet. In the short term, within the next 30 days, your goal is to open a high-yield savings account. Look for one offering 4.20% APY or better, and automate your very first deposit. And for the long term, set up an automatic investment into a retirement plan. Target $100 a month, or whatever you can realistically afford to start. If this video clarified the real numbers you need to know, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for our weekly guides where we always use the freshest data to build your financial confidence. And drop a comment below. Which of the 4 steps was the hardest for you? Or where are you starting your 90-day journey today? Reading your stories is the best part of making these videos. This video is for educational purposes only, not personal financial advice. All data is from reputable sources like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Bureau of Economic Analysis, the IRS, Bankrate, NerdWallet, and Fortune as of late 2024 and 2025. Products mentioned are examples, not recommendations. Please research thoroughly and consult a licensed financial advisor for your specific situation.